There is a magical operation of maximum importance. The initiation of a new aeon. When it becomes necessary to utter a word, the whole planet must be bathed in blood.
Ah, yes. Welcome to Deadhaus Whispers.
Greetings, everyone. Calypso here. It's been a long time, and now Deadhaus Whispers is back again, risen from the dead, if you will. And once again, I'm Calypso, and as usual, I'm always joined by my other host, Faceless Mike.
Greetings, hello, and welcome. And I see you are Calypsov today.
Yes, that was Calypsov. Yes.
So how have you been, dude? It's like we're back, and we're
Yeah.
always just back, but at least we will have a better schedule going forward.
Yep, that's true. Yeah, hopefully. I've been all right. It's spooky season, so I've been watching a bunch of horror movies, playing a bunch of scary video games, retreading Legacy of Kain per usual every time around this month. I've been good. A lot of Lovecraft again in my life, reading Lovecraft more. Saw the new Hellraiser. I thought it was awesome.
I have not got the chance to see it yet because there is no legal way to watch it in Ireland yet. So
what? You can't watch it on like Hulu or anything? You don't have a Hulu?
We don't get Hulu in Europe.
Oh,
so
really?
Anything that's on there usually ends up like for example, how did you watch Prey? You know that Predator movie,
yeah,
Prey?
on Hulu, yeah.
Yeah, over here it's on Disney Plus.
Oh, wait, what?
Yeah.
Wait, Predator is a Disney character now?
Yes. So Alien and Predator are both Disney princesses. So that's the way we have that. It's been a very, very long time indeed. Yes. But all things come to those who wait, and death is eternal. Speaking of which, as is the usual shilling for today, don't forget to check out deadhousenata.com. Yep. It's been a while since there's been official stream. It might be a little bit longer, but we are still here to be the unofficial stream.
Yes.
As Calypso says, we are the official unofficial stream for
yeah.
Deadhaus Sonata to promote everything Deadhaus related. And because it's been a while, we have a lot of catching up to do.
Oh yeah,
we have a lot. If Calypso can even remember half of it, because it's been quite a while. I took notes. I didn't remember. So
all right, you took notes. I don't remember, so I'm relying on your notes. The last episode we talked about the Ghoul radio play. Yes. Have there? There
has been two since.
Okay. So I was right. I wasn't crazy. There has been two. Mm-hmm. One of them was vampires and vampire blood, which was awesome. And then the other one was meeting Alaric discovering a moon door, if I am correct. Because he discovered a sunlight door in one of the other earlier radio plays. And apart from that news, there's actually been some official Legacy of Kain news that has struck the internet, as well as Tomb Raider and some announcements from Crystal Dynamics. But we
go on. I'll let you talk about this first before we get into the mountain of speculation I have.
Yes, before we get into Deadhaus proper, let's talk about the other thing. So, for those of you who don't know, Crystal Dynamics last week or a couple weeks ago now released a survey about what would the fans like in a new Legacy of Kain game. That's right, a new one. I have a video, Legacy of Kain Returns, that goes over all those details. It's actually got a bunch of views. I also have a follow-up where we brainstorm what's happening. But the gist of it is Crystal Dynamics released a survey for everybody to answer, fans or not, of what they would like in a new Legacy of Kain game. What the gameplay they would want, what the narrative, what they would want, style of game, action, adventure, multiplayer, like all that stuff. The broad spectrum of what a game is today and what kind of game you guys would like to see today within this survey.
We're going to link Calypso's one down below.
Yeah.
If you're watching this later on YouTube or if you're on Spotify or anything, I will put links in descriptions. And I want to go over this because I watched Calypso's video and I laughed at it, not because of what he said, but because I know what the answers will be. And for every answer, because keep in mind, I'm the guy that reads the comments on the Deadhaus videos. So I know. no one's going to be happy. No matter what they do, a huge section of the audience will be angry.
Oh, of
So,
course.
as you said, the first things first, a reboot or a rehash, or like kind of like, let's say, a Legacy of Kain collection. Let's say we bring out a
Yeah.
disc or a Switch cartridge that has all the games that will function on whatever current systems, and they like function well. I'm not mentioning any ports. That I think will be the best option.
Oh, I
People
definitely think so.
will want to go through with that. Anything else that's done, and don't get me wrong, I'd love to see more myself, but anything else that's done is going to divide the audience instantly,
Mhm.
because it'll either be not good enough, it'll be
Yeah, you
done
can't win.
wrong, the story will be terrible. Why didn't you use the original voice actors? Half of them are dead. Like,
Sadly.
there will
Yeah.
always be like problems. I think you showed a clip of something of
I did.
the other guy.
So,
If
yeah.
you didn't tell me that was him, I wouldn't have known.
No,
And
same.
reboot, like,
So, yeah, exactly. So, with this whole new Legacy of Kain thing, I know a lot of the fans, have a broad spectrum of what they would like to see. I personally, in these two videos, highlighted that I think going the God of War 2018 soft reboot direction, if there is going to be a new like sequel or reboot of Legacy of Kain, do it that way. That way you can tell kind of a singular story while having having it be a continuation as well as bringing in new fans who've never played Legacy of Kain or God of War 2018 in this case, in that kind of style. That's what I would like. Other
I
people would like Dark
agree with
Souls.
I agree with
Yeah.
you, but that's a tall ask.
Oh no, it's a
That's a
tall order. So
tall
that's
ask.
why I think personally, when this new Legacy of Kain thing happens, and it will happen, mind you, the only reason I know and believe that this is going to happen is because every single time Crystal Dynamics or Square Enix themselves released a survey about Legacy of Kain, what happened? We got Legacy of Kain news that there was a Legacy of Kain being developed, then it got canceled. There
I do
was,
think this is pretty much a real, like, genuine customer interest survey
oh,
for to
definitely,
check out, not only gauge the level of interest, but what way they should go with it. Because they're not just throwing spaghetti at the wall. They have like 3 or 4 ideas. They
yep,
just
yep.
want to see, would this be a boom or a bust? That's
Yep.
kind of
This actually ties into a Tomb Raider news. So Crystal Dynamics developing another Tomb Raider. They announced it yesterday at Unreal Fest, the long developer conference for everybody using Unreal Engine. As a game developer myself, I tuned into that kind of stuff because I dig it. Plus, it's Crystal Dynamics. So Crystal Dynamics has moved from their proprietary engine that they've been developing for the past 20 years, starting out with Gex, and all the way up to the recent Tomb Raiders, and they finally switched over to Unreal Engine 5 simply because the ease of access, once you get the learning curve of Unreal Engine out of the way, it's incredibly easy to develop video games, and you don't have to worry about fixing your own broken down engine that's 20 years old. So apart from them using Unreal Engine 5 and developing a new Tomb Raider, this switch to a new engine definitely means that they're going to be developing a new Legacy of Kain and their other franchises that they're interested in working on easily with the help of Unreal Engine. Not, to shill on Epic or whatever, but like they have a good engine on their hands.
I
And
think a lot of people like to lean that way because if you're doing game development in college, the vast majority of the stuff is either done in Unreal or
or Unity.
Unity.
Yeah.
So, like, you will do one of them. So when you get new young people out of college, which, look, let's face it, people like to talk about experienced devs, this and the other. Most work is done by the new guys out of college. Like,
Oh
the
yeah,
experienced
definitely.
devs are not sitting there programming the behavioral physics of a tree
Yeah.
or a bench or a window. Like, that's all new young guys and girls. And if they're fresh out of college, if they already know how to use the tools, doesn't it make life a lot
Yep.
easier?
Yep.
Rather than having to pretty much set them down and give them another 3-month course on, and this is how our engine works. Like, I know
Yeah.
that's got its perks, but it also has its drawbacks.
Yeah. Like a quote from one of the developers, one of the engineers, I think, I'm paraphrasing here, was it stuck out to me because it was a highlight of that conference where junior developers, and I'm paraphrasing, junior developers have an easier time understanding Unreal Engine, and that's why we moved to it rather than our senior developers. I've been developing, games for 20 years and using our own proprietary engine, and I was struggling to learn Unreal Engine 5, but these guys straight out of college, like you just said, got their heads wrapped around it quicker than I could, and they've moved up the ranks from junior to like senior or mid or whatever quickly, because it's just an easy engine to understand and learn once you get over the learning curve of Unreal Engine 5. So yeah, Crystal Dynamics is using Unreal Engine to develop their future games. They released a Legacy of Kain survey, which more often than not means a new Legacy of Kain is on the way. So it's happening, guys. Like, it's actually happening. I think remasters and better ports should happen first. Like, get the old games to a new audience, and then go like the remake route or the soft reboot route or whatever you guys would want.
It'd be really interesting to see how that goes, because like I filled it out. I filled out.
Yeah.
People are like, oh, I don't know this, that, the other. Fill it out. If you give the amount of complaining I've heard from Legacy of Kain community over years, it's your fault if you don't fill this out now. Like, it is literally entirely on you.
Yeah.
Now, with that out of the way, when you were saying about the conference thing, you were watching that. I was more interested and glued to the Silent Hill news, but that's a different topic for a different
stream. That is a different topic for another stream. Yes, I have choice things to say about that, but we can talk about that some other time.
Other franchise, other scenario, but at least it's not a pachinko machine.
Yep, at least like,
it's not a pachinko
credit. I love Bloober Team. I'm glad Bloober Team is working on it, but I know a lot of people aren't glad that Bloober Team is working on it, and I guess I understand why. But I mean, it's Silent Hill. At least it's back, sort of, until Konami messes it up or something. But yeah. But anyways.
Watching that, and don't get me wrong, I love Silent Hill. I'm a big fan of the franchise, but I'm old enough to have played the original, and that's not the weird realization when they were interviewing some of the staff. I'm like, a lot of you not old enough to have ever played the original.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool. Like, cool they're getting the OGs back. It's cool they're getting the original composer and the original freaking creator or whatever to come back. That's cool.
I was just sitting there watching this, and I was really excited, and then wanted to start screaming at the television, "Now do Castlevania!"
Oh no, same. You have the hype of the Castlevania anime, and you're not going to do anything with it. Like, perfect opportunity, guys.
But it's literally Alaric with the ghoul in the cage all over again with the meals. Just eating it in front of them. And go, oh, this, you want this? No.
Yeah. Anyways, speaking of that, moving on to Deadhaus proper stuff. So yeah.
Okay. We'll start with the first radio play before we go into it. So we've got a little running order here. First radio play, second radio play, last stream I did. So, of Bloodlines, and our description reads, in this episode of Bloodlines, we follow Alaric as he reminisces over a drink. Interesting way to put it.
Yep. A little bit of wordplay there.
So, do you remember this episode, Calypso?
Yeah, this episode's it's vampire, so it's in my memory still. Props to the ghoul. Like, man, I guess this kind of ties into the other ghoul episode also, because Alaric finds a vial, or gets delivered, or buys a vial of vampire blood from someone mysterious.
No, he gets it delivered. Yeah.
Okay, he gets it delivered. And he only to discover that the vampire blood is slowly dwindling away. No matter what you do, it is slowly vanishing. Adding water to it hurts it. Makes the vampire blood like diminish more.
And it don't like salt or silver.
And it doesn't like salt or silver. And he does all these experiments on this vampire blood. And then the ghoul that can talk, which is awesome still. And it's such a great voice acting thing for the ghoul. It's so good. Maybe gives him some friendly hints of what to do. And then Alaric decides to take a little bit of his own blood and drop it in there. And the blood stays, and it doesn't just dissolve anymore. And it even grows because he pours it out. And then he realizes that vampire blood is like always dwindling, and it constantly needs nourishment. And vampires, he speculates that vampires might constantly just feel empty, and like they're drained, and like they're hungry, and that they're like tired all the time. No wonder vampires are saying they're just tired all the time because they need blood.
You thought they were all goth. They're actually just depressed.
Yeah.
So yeah, it gives them more depth into what a vampire is. That it's not the vampire that needs to drink. Oh, I need to drink. It actually really needs to drink, even for its own existence.
the blood is the life, as they say.
Mm-hmm. And we are gods.
Mm.
Dark gods. I won't. Okay.
Eh.
But yeah, the behavior of it, and we had little things of Alaric about when he'd first encountered all this stuff. You know, it was.
Yeah, and
It
I like how
was.
there's flashbacks to the vampires, the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's like he's got some little PTSD going on with the oh man, I should have got my satchel, and all my friends died from this freaking vampire in the church, and like I like he's so stupid sometimes, but I like that there's little callbacks to that episode, and there was even callbacks to the other episodes in the next one, but no, I think I definitely I really hope that Alaric and the ghoul become kind of like buddy and friends, you know, as like a kind of a
Now,
Laurel and
here's
Hardy
the
situation. I think
here's
that'd be awesome if
here's the funny
that
one, right?
happened.
So, for anyone that's watching this, like I know a lot of people are really enjoying the radio plays. You need to catch these live, right? Because not only like do you get the experience of, oh, I get to see this as it's happening, as it's premiering, but most of the time, I can't promise every time, most of the time, George Ledoux joins us, and then we have a little bit of a Q&A over the Discord afterwards. Now, not every time, because like George is a busy man, so he doesn't always have free time to do it, but for the last two, he has. And we've been joking about this, and George was saying they had so much fun doing Alaric and the Ghoul, and they were kind of messing, like obviously outtakes and stuff like that, but not outtakes. George pretty professional, but like when off, they're like chit-chatting back and forth and messing. And as you mentioned there, Calypso, there is jokes about some kind like buddy cop comedy kind of like thing going on there. Like this like, needs to happen. It would be hilarious.
Yeah, I would definitely like
I'm pushing for that quest line. There has to be a quest line somewhere in Deadhaus.
Yeah. You like you get like a buddy cop thing with a ghoul or the ghoul
and Alaric.
Alaric, yeah. Like it's so. I like that. I definitely like that. And the thing is you can see that there's sort of this amicable understanding with the ghoul and Alaric, even when he first meets him and captures him in the ghoul episode, and then in this one. When the ghoul, helps him out, of course, for some flesh and information, but like how they're sort of starting to learn each other and understand. And like, it's really cool. It's really cool. Like, it's one of those things I can see, just expanding upon and getting deeper and deeper as the episodes go on.
Especially considering a lot of people thought the ghouls were mindless. They're learning.
Yeah,
no,
I definitely
not.
thought
they're
were
anything but.
I definitely thought that they were just, like kind of like dogs or animals, and they couldn't speak and they weren't smart, and the whole hive mind thing was nuts. And like, it's so, oh man, it's awesome. There's a huge depth to the ghoul as a species of undead in Deadhaus.
Like everything else still surprise you. And then that moves us on to Of Hope. Which in this episode of Hope, we follow Alaric as he finds a light in the darkness. I did not think they were mindless, but I did not think they could manipulate as well as they did either. Yeah. Well, they are members of Deadhaus for a reason.
Very true. Very true.
Greetings, Matt. But yeah, so in Of Hope, Alaric ventures to first he goes to find about the guy that he helped to vanish unintentionally at the hands of a rather bloody eviscerated woman, as he calls her, and that leads him that he can't decipher the text that he has, that he'll have to go to the source, and that brings him to a nomadic peoples called the Anii.
Very, very cool. I liked the props to I thought the voice actor for the Anii leader sounded familiar, but I can't put my finger on who it is. I know it's not who I think it is, but their voice could be a good, like, do you know, I'm trying to remember the actor's name, like Giaman, like Hussein. I think he was his friend in Gladiator.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. He's been in a bunch. He's a big South African actor. Like he's huge Hollywood. Like his voice, the guys who was playing the Anii leader sounds a lot like him. I thought it was him, but I was like,
I
no
thought
way.
Venduk.
Yeah.
I like that this is showing that there's greater and broader cultures within Malorum. That it's not just like, oh, look, these are like white European dudes. Like there's like a broad culture. There's a lot of societies, which again, when Alaric and Venduk travel to this place and he translates the text, you find out there's different text, and the Anii is near the top, but the Anii isn't the top. There was older. Like these are all these cool lore hints. There's so many lore hints there. I'm actually upset how many people didn't get more of it, because I really wanted this discussion. Because who were the older people? Who built the stuff? Why does the thing look like necrotech? What the heck is going on? The place is covered in green writing. Who the hell could write in this stuff that Alaric couldn't dent with dynamite? Like who, like they've managed to write in this stone to give warnings. Who built the dang portals? How are there portals all over the place?
There's so many questions. Like, and I think that's the best part about these radio plays is that like Alaric is sort of a stand-in for the audience. He's learning and discovering things as we are, as these plays go along. And you know, oh gosh, that's a big shocking moment for Alaric. It is for us too, because we're listening to it and is whoa, and like we're going into it, well, some of us anyway are going into it with huge mystery, and it's cool to see Alaric unfurling these things as we are, as well as the audience. And like the discussions over in the Discord, I've peeked in a little bit recently, and the forums and stuff is really cool. But I like the way culturally how like the Anii are, they kind of remind me of the gypsies from Blood Omen, and like I think you said
they're a bit
like,
aboriginal.
It
kind of gives you that kind of like a mix between African and Australian Aboriginal, and it shows that they're older. Their culture is far older, and they're displaced at the moment, which we'll learn more about that. There's obviously something happened, and we don't know exactly what, but a big thing happened that has displaced these people, and the Thasian Empire, they took them in and let them live there. So like this is obviously a far bigger deal. This is a historic thing. Best thing about Alaric as a stand-in for the audience is that he's not an average person. He knows a lot. He's just out of his depth. In ways they can't even begin to imagine.
And I like throwing it back to of Bloodlines, that the blood episode, the vampire episode. I like that we got backstory on Alaric as a child, and he grew up in Beller, and like how his dad became a vampire and was killed by the Thasian, and then the Thasian Empire comes in and rescues him, and so he devotes his life to them, and then he tries to do the same thing for the Anii and be like, hey man, just like we're trying to help you out here, the Thasian Empire. But I believe that the Thasians aren't actually, you know, great people that Alaric thinks they are. And I think slowly as the episodes progress, we're going to find out that maybe the Thasian Empire are just giant meanies.
I have to laugh at the idea when he goes, but the Empire will fall. He's like, the fate of all empires is to fall.
No, the Anii leader, Venduk, right?
He says, in our war against the dead, he says, you cannot win a war against death.
Yeah, I think it's like the Anii leader definitely has more knowledge than he's leading on, and he's older than he seems. I definitely think the Anii leader is, you know, ancient.
There's something special. There's something special about them we don't know yet. That's my money. If I was a betting man, that's my money, is that there's something about them, because how are they like a nomadic tribe allowed to live in Thasia? They're just allowed to wander around. They don't get a proper home or anything. They're just left to wander. Choose with Deadhaus. They are not concerned with this battle at all.
No.
What do they know? Who are they?
Yeah, maybe they have something to do with, because the thing is when the Anii, if I remember, unless I'm misremembering, I have to listen to it again. When they stumbled across the portals for the moon doors, that's the whole crux of this episode, is Alaric and the Anii leader find moon doors. The Anii leader kind of understands and
he knows exactly what's in there.
What's in there and what's going on. He kind of,
Alaric even takes it out and has no idea, but Venduk knew exactly. Whatever he read, he didn't translate literally.
No,
he intentionally kept some back because he knew exactly what that was.
Yeah, and he knew what the ruins were, and he was like, "Oh yeah, this old, I know this. Like, this is familiar to me." Not whereas Alaric, it's a mystery to him.
I like the idea that they can go to different places, because he says this will bring you to whatever it is, but it'll cost you. He says, what will it cost me? He says, for you need only walk through. Which means they cost people other things.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He knows there's stuff going on behind the scenes.
I think bringing it back to voodoo, maybe they're kind of voodoo-esque. Culturally, no, but perhaps like every culture, experiments with death and has a sort of tie to it in some way. So maybe the Anii are kind of like voodoo-esque, like
Haitian.
They have kind of like sort of like a something similar to where they understand death, and maybe that's why Deadhaus doesn't mess with them. And because, apart from Deadhaus just not caring, maybe the Anii are kind of just left to their own devices because they have a tie in some way to death and something with souls. Or I'm thinking like that maybe they could tie in with the wraiths somehow, or but I don't know.
I think maybe there's something just to ward off that they do not come to the attention of these things, because they can do stuff that allows them to somehow fly under the radar.
Yeah.
If you get me. I like that with Alaric, it's like from some first people's, like, I've seen with some comments they're mentioning about Beller. Oh, it's because he's from Beller. It's like Alaric von Beller.
Von Beller, yeah.
Leonardo da Vinci. If you've played any of the Witcher games or anything, like, this is common. It's just the language and all like that. But I thought that was like, it's interesting because is Beller still a place? Does it still stand? Has it fallen? Like Corehaven?
I believe Beller was like to the south, or it was situated around the same area as, starts with an S, Sigstrand.
Sigstrand.
And yeah,
Sigstrand. That's a very familiar name, isn't it?
Yeah, sounds familiar.
I wonder where that's from. Is there anyone else that has that name in their name? It's someone similar to a Vikings named their kids. Yes.
Yeah. Like, I don't know why it kind of struck me like, oh yeah, Beller, Dur. Like when I heard that, I was like, oh, now it makes sense. But like, come on, like that's just the whole medieval time thing they're going with, Let's see. The Vikings. Oh yeah, Eric the Red.
So putting you on the spot, Calypso. Do you know where Sigstrand?
One of the captains of the Thasian Empire, I think. I can't remember his name. No? The Red Lady?
No, who's the Red Lady? Come on, back to the Necro.
I know.
Who's our favorite vampire?
No, it's not. It's not Zoran, is it? Hold on a minute, man. I'm actually pulling this up right now.
Yeah.
Man.
I'm gonna see in real time now.
Yeah. Okay. Let me pull up the Necro. Oh wow, they did some updates to the book. That's cool. I love the page turning. I think that's really neat.
Y'all need to be checking your Necro frequently.
There's no way. Did Zoran actually go to Sigstrand and kill that guy? And that's where the Baron is. Zoran, Scholar, Vampire. Oh, geez, where's the guy's name? Where's the guy's Baron Alric? No.
Baron Aoric. That's
Aoric. That's sorry, Aoric.
Keep going.
Lucen Armin. Gosh, what's the freaking captain's name? The captain of the Thasian Empire. It's got to be that guy, right?
Keep going.
Vampires, Revenants, Whites.
You just keep an eye for the authors. I think that should help.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah. If you guys go to the Deadhaus website and go to the lore, They actually have the text as well as the radio play right next to it that like pops up in a little screen. I can't find it. Give me a hint, man.
You know the way where it says, like at the end of each chapter, it's like, Nagaztak,
yeah,
Malleusodium and Revenant Potent. Yeah, keep looking. Keep looking.
Tosi. Okay, Tails. It's not. Scrolls of Lamentation, Nagaztak. Grim Scribe. Frederick Solomon. Wow, there's some stuff in here that I haven't read yet. Scrolls of Lamentation, Malleus, Scrolls of... Gosh, Nagaztak writes a lot. I mean, it is my Bible. Zoran... No way, dude! Okay, Zoran von Sigstrand, Lord Marshal of the Shambling Hordes. Okay, that took forever. There is some stuff that I definitely need to reread here.
Zoran
is from Sigstrand.
Sigstrand. That might be relevant.
Maybe.
That'll be relevant later on. So yeah, we get a little bit that Sigstrand is the area in which Bella is one of the small little villages of.
Yeah.
If you think of Sigstrand being the city or the area.
And then Alaric finds vampires there. Where's what?
Which came first?
The vampire or the egg? No, the vampire or the victim.
Well, that's the part there, you see, because there's a lot of history that we get to learn about that. But these little bits of things that come later. I just like the idea that it gave body to the blood, the way the blood acted in its own way. And then Alaric later on finds a thing, a big glowy thing. Seems to be powering some kind of crazy ass pyramid.
Yeah. Oh, yes, that's right. He finds I was about to say the lamentation or the lament configuration, but
that's a different puzzle.
That's a different. Yes, he does. He finds that he goes into the giant. He discovers that image with the pyramid, and then the other pyramid, and then there's something floating in the middle, and he grabs it, and then it kind of ends. And it's a mystery. It's a weapon. Maybe he finds a weapon to defeat Deadhaus with or something, and I can't remember what the name of it is because I know he gave it a name or it has a name or
big metal thingy with glowing green stuff.
Yeah, he discovers glyph energy. The hills in her back. No.
This is much worse.
Of hope. See, I'm making me Google it, man. Deadhaus Sonata of is of hope on text? Is that on text yet? Are they on text or no? Oh,
don't think so.
Oh, dang. Well, yes. No, see, that's the cool thing. He discovers,
it was called a crucible, by the way, just to put you out of your misery, because one of the big quotes is that was written on the wall in the Anii is death undone in the crucible.
Yeah, so he finds the weapon that maybe can destroy Deadhaus. And then the thing is does he go on to create the whites with this crucible? Or was that is this after that? Because I know the Chronicles of Alaric.
This is before any of that.
Okay, yeah, I was about to say, I know they're not in chronological order, and you can put them in chronological order if you look at the dates and you're smart.
No, I'm fairly certain these ones are now in chronological. Season 2, order. I'm fairly certain are chronological order.
Okay, so maybe this would.
It's just that there's little bits of time jumps. So his memories of his childhood, or between episodes, it will mention it. It could be a day, it could be a week, it could be 3 months. So it's for the time distance, shall we call it? That's the interesting part of this. But no, as far as I recall, this is This is in order. I just can't wait for everyone to hear it because I'm in the privileged position to be able to know what's coming down the pipeline,
Mm.
and
I've skipped ahead to the ending chapter.
I'm dying to discuss the lore as we go forward, which is why I thought more people would come in once they discovered about the Anii and about the blood of the vampires. Do you remember the
No,
ghoul? You go, let me
yeah,
smell
no,
it.
definitely. This is definitely going to be one of those. And again, I'm calling it. I don't want to jinx it or whatever, but like I definitely think once there's more Dead House stuff released and people start to come in, then they're gonna get interested into the lore, and then they're gonna be reading the Bibles and listening to the
Tips.
radio plays.
Anyone that jumps in on this game, okay, let's fast forward to like when the game releases, right?
Yeah, yeah.
By the time this game releases, there's going to be so much lore, you might as well go take a college course.
No, yeah, and I know what's crazy is I know there's going to be a bunch of other YouTubers jumping on the bandwagon and making lore
First,
videos, and yeah,
first.
first. No, like it's crazy to think that have you been playing Scorn at all? Was that your
Yes,
thing? Have you been playing? Did you kickstart
finished
it
it,
back then?
loved it.
Okay, you finished it. I think I'm towards the ending. I'm like 5 hours in or something. And I've
Yeah,
just
you're
solved.
depending on how long you took to solve the puzzles. Yeah, you're near the end. Actually, I'll tell you. I won't spoil it, but what have you just recently done? And I'll tell you.
I just got the first real gun that looks like something out of a Cronenberg movie. That like it's like
I
a
know, bit
little.
existence, wasn't
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it?
No, that's what I'm saying. It's like the best Cronenberg, Giger, Zalinski, maybe a little bit of Ellison in there, like game ever. It's so
A
good.
lot of people didn't like it. I thought it was
I
great.
know because they're
I thought it was
they're.
great.
Oh no, I thought it was. I'm loving it so far. Like I'm loving it. I'm loving every second of it, and I'm taking my time. Like I'm walking through areas. I'm not running or jogging. I'm literally walking.
Exactly, it
Um,
was stunning.
I
Of
am
course you would. It was
taking this thing.
absolutely
I think this
stunning.
is the best looking Unreal Engine 4 game like I've seen ever, I think, because like my problem with Unreal games sometimes is they can look really shiny and plasticky in some areas, but like this, if it's shiny it's because it's gooey and bloody and gross,
I keep
but like
thinking,
I think visually it's
can
amazing.
y'all get like license like some of this thing to like ID? Because like I just want to bounce around those arenas like in Quake with a rocket launcher, like fragging each other.
Yeah,
That's what they look like. They
yeah.
are so stunningly
Oh yeah,
beautiful
no, definitely could be
everywhere.
multiplayer maps they really wanted to.
So like that, I think that's one of the biggest problems. It took so long. Like everything, it is one of the most gorgeous looking games, but there's like virtually no gameplay.
No, that's the
Like
thing. Like
that's
that's the thing. I knew it was going to be this way
yeah,
from initially backing it and getting the developer videos and stuff back then. Like you have a team of like 4 or 5 people working on this thing. Of course it's not going to be triple A big budget whatever, and it's going to be short ish, but that's the other thing, excuse me, that's the other thing that like I guess we can talk about game length for a second.
Hmm.
Your games don't have to be 100 hours long. um your games don't have to
Ubisoft.
be yeah, your games don't have to be like 10 hours is fine of a game length. I think anything lower than like 5, 6, 7 hours, 4 hours, 3 hours is no big problem, because like it's funny how people are getting on Scorn about its length being like, depending on how you play it,
No, I think it's
four,
long enough.
four,
Right.
4 to 7 hours or whatever. But then like 10 years ago there were games that were 5 hours long and you guys were okay with that. You guys were fine with like a game being short and spending $60 on it. PS2 games, the average like PlayStation 2 game was like 5 hours long. The original God of War, 5 hours, and if you've played it a million times, 3 hours.
Yeah.
Prince of Persia: Sands of Time, Jack and Daxter, all these games are crazy short for back then, and they were developed by teams of 1,000 people.
I think I remember one of the longest games I went through at the time that was a single player offline type game that wasn't like PC or anything, Final Fantasy VII. And that felt like it dragged on forever.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
that's not the longest game in the world either.
Exactly.
It's
Like,
long,
so
but not that long.
the Legacy of Kain games, less than 5 hours long, if you
Or an
really,
hour and something if you're
or an hour and something
Varric.
if you're Varric, yeah.
Varric or Sailor gets it
Yeah.
done in like, yeah, bang out
Like,
a play of this.
they're short games, so I don't know why everyone's even we were talking about Silent Hill earlier. The Silent Hill games are, 5 hours or
Yeah, there.
less.
Star Fox for the N64 was like 25, 35 minutes. Same with the first
Mm,
Smash Bros.
yeah,
Smash Bros is different because once you get multiplayer games into it, the length of time doesn't really count because there's a
count,
weird
yeah.
replayability thing to it. But just
Mhm.
generally speaking, it depends on the game. Like
Oh,
it's
definitely.
it's as long as it should be. If it's too long and you intentionally drag it out unnecessarily, it's like you're just padding things for the sake of it at that point.
Mhm.
Like you're getting into MMO territory, but the reason
Yeah.
that happens in MMOs is for an entirely different realm of physics and mechanics. Like that's an entirely different world altogether. But
Mhm.
when you're doing that in a single player offline game, where it's like, we're gonna make this grindy as hell. Why though?
Yeah, why? Why? Like, I think the crazy thing is if Scorn was 10 hours long, people would say, and I guarantee people would say, "Oh, it kind of went on a little bit too long for what it
No,
was."
you know the exact words they'd use because I've read enough reviews now. It outstayed its welcome.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. Like and that's the thing is like it's paced really well, and mind you, that's the thing. It's paced really well to however you're playing it. It's one of those games to where it's paced how you're playing it. I'm taking it very slowly. I'm walking through
Some of
areas.
some of
I'm
those
looking
puzzles are a bit
around.
cruel though.
Oh my god. Like I just got done with a puzzle where you had to realign um like cogs to get this machine to work, but you all had to have the light matching at the same time.
I love how it
Took
explains
me
nothing.
forever. No,
What
I
about the
love that
eggs?
too. I like how there's no hand holding. The egg thing was really cool.
That
Um,
egg puzzle at the start was a bit of a pain. I could see people like I didn't have a problem, but I will sit and mess with a Rubik's cube or anything. Like I will do those puzzles. Like I will be the person that sits down and unknots cables, and it doesn't
mhm,
frustrate me like to high
yeah,
heavens. Like
I
I
thought the
could
train
see a lot of
puzzle.
people will lose their mind.
Yeah, I thought that the first puzzle, the train puzzle or whatever that I guess they're calling it that, or the egg, the the moving where you have the giant claw and you have to move like the egg
Yeah,
sacs or whatever they
yeah,
are.
that's the
Like,
one I'm talking about. That's what I call the
yeah,
egg puzzle.
that
That
took
one moving.
forever. That took forever for me. Like an hour. I think just going back and forth. I'm like, oh, did I do something wrong? Am I missing something? Um, did I got that one thing where like something you grabbed one, it worked, and then it fell, and the creature fell on the floor or died or whatever. I was like, okay,
Mm.
I finished that section. Then I had to go back and like then there's the tracks you have to align if you want to do this other thing and blah 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 blah. Like, but that's the thing. That's okay with me. Like I like those kind of slow burn sort of walking simulator puzzle games that Scorn,
There
that
is absolute
Mist,
like
that
again,
stuff
there is
is. I know it's
absolutely
not every for
nothing
everyone.
wrong with walking simulators as long as people are aware it's a walking simulator.
I understand you need 20 of a drop item in a quest, but why is it
A 2% drop
2%
rate.
drop rate? Yeah. Oh, MMOs, yeah.
Yeah.
Like the thing is like, especially for and you and people are like, oh well, you have to blame Scorn's advertising for it advertising something differently. It didn't though.
It didn't.
If you've been interested in following this game, and then before you buy it, you want to look up a bunch of gameplay or previews everywhere, and every gameplay preview they've shown, there's maybe like 5% shooting. um the other 95% is walking around and puzzle solving and just atmosphere, building an atmosphere that
Beautiful
this game
atmosphere.
is. Yeah, oh yeah. Like,
Is it weird I just had like Tool and Nine Inch Nails running through my head when I'm playing the
oh
entire
no,
thing?
same. Like I've legitimately gone and looked up HR Giger documentaries and stuff after playing some of this, and like I rewatched Existenz before this game came out with my friend. Like, yeah, like
Wow,
it's so
you went
good. I
back
went
and you
deep.
went deep.
I
Existence, like
did.
most people, Calypso would have no idea what that
Nah,
is,
man,
but
Videodrome, Existence, Naked Lunch. Cronenberg is great. I think he just came out, or he's coming out with another movie soon, or he just came out with one something.
someone finally get him off his games, huh?
Yeah. Um, but no, it's like that's the thing with like just world building. Like Scorn does world building really well, but it's all up to the perception of the player.
Mm.
And like I think Deadhouse can do something where they can do world building really well. And if they don't hold anyone's hand, like Scorn doesn't hold your hand, then I mean, apart from like a tutorial here and there, like you can flesh out the world of Deadhouse
I
a
love the
million ways
intuitive
better.
nature to it, but then again,
Yeah.
I like that in things like from software games. Like I loved Elden Ring. Like I know they had a little bit of tutorial, but like you don't need to do
You
that.
could
You can
skip
just
it. You
run
could
out.
skip the tutorial, right?
Yeah, you can just run
Yeah.
straight out the door and go for it. But I like that whenever later on it implements, like, I don't want to spoil this because technically it's still a new game. And I know with From Software games, even if it's 5 years old, there's some people that have never got that far in it because it's a
Mhm.
wall they've just been bricking their head against. So, like, that's it. I'm not going to explain too much, but there's things that happen in Elden Ring that you only discover later on. You learned things without it explaining them through trial and error, like, and it's very cruel and harsh trial and error, which I really really enjoy.
Yeah.
I like learning through doing, learning through seeing. I don't like the whole go up to this thing and press this button and then this will happen. It's like, no, no, let me see it. Show,
Yeah.
don't tell, as Dennis loves to say, and I thoroughly agree with that attitude. I like that. Show, don't tell.
Yeah, that's like it's a rule in film, it's a rule in video games. But then there's those people who want to be told, like you need, you have some bit of environmental storytelling of a guy holding a gun, and he's got like, a side wounds to his head, and there's his brain splattered all over the wall. Do you really need an audio diary of a guy saying, "I'm about to kill myself. Things are getting really desperate and sad." Like, no, you don't. But people want it.
I just find it a bit strange on that front. You see, this is a whole other conversation. This is a Sanguine Sunday conversation, but
Yeah,
to
yeah.
bring it up into it, not every game is for you. And people
No.
need to understand this. People get very upset. It's like, but I didn't like this, and I don't. It's not for you. Maybe it's not for you. Not every, like, there. Like, my favorite one is they need to put an easy mode into, like, From Software games. There is. It's called Magic Users.
Yeah.
like when people talk about, I need an easy mode. There is, just pick a Magic user. The game's you.
Yeah.
But like when they go on at that, like, not every game is for you. Like, I'll
Yeah.
give you a perfect example. I do not like soccer. Well, soccer to Americans, over here it's football.
Football,
But
yeah.
soccer, I don't like soccer. I've no problem with it. It's just not me. I've never liked it. Yeah, magic using makes things easier. Very much so. That's always
Yeah,
been,
like
that's been a known thing in those games. But
yeah.
I just don't buy soccer games. I don't like pick up a soccer game and complain, how come it doesn't have this and they don't do that and this is boring and blah blah blah. I just don't play them because it's
Mhm.
not for me. I'm not big into sports games. If you are, more power to you. You go buy FIFA and enjoy. You do you. That's your thing. It's not for me at all. And
Yeah.
this applies to almost every game in every genre. It might not be for you. You should take a look at it and see. Like, if you like walking simulators, if you like puzzles, you like the dark atmosphere, like, I like this. The only time
Yeah.
it doesn't work in certain games like Agony, I felt that was a bit I thought that was going to be a little
Agony
bit
had
different.
so much potential and then it went
Yeah.
an entirely different direction. I don't know how or why, but I suspect that Agony had a really great idea at first, but then either they kind of wrote themselves into a hole or something to do with they had to cut a lot of stuff out and turn it into whatever Agony became.
But
But Agony,
they can't use the rating and stuff as an excuse because Dante's Inferno got released and that was great.
yeah, I
And
love
people are
Dante's
like,
Inferno. That's a
"Oh, it's
great
just a rip
game.
off of God of War," and they done it well. It was
Yes.
very good.
Hey, if you're gonna, hey, what's that whole thing? Good artists borrow, great artists steal. Um,
But
and then
like
like,
that's
yeah,
an homage to different thing. I think you mentioned it in one of your videos. Like, if you're like, "Oh, these are homages," yeah, because if you're going to
yeah,
do it well. Like you mentioned,
hmm
like Darksiders is Zelda. Yeah,
yeah.
it's pretty
Darksiders
much
is
it.
Zelda
With
with
a
a
portal gun.
smattering of portal gunning. Yeah, and a legacy game. Like, I know that Dark Souls and From Software games, even though I love them as a developer and I think they make great games, I know they're not for me. I know, like, I think the world they create is cool. I think the combat's fine or whatever, but like I just already know that they're not my thing.
Yeah,
So
not
like
everything is for
I'm
everyone.
never really gonna play it. And I know if I do pick one up and play it, I might have like fun, but I won't be immersed or like truly enjoying myself for whatever reason. I just know
Exactly.
it. I just have that feeling that it's not for me,
That's
you
why I
know,
think a lot of people got
and that's
upset with
okay.
a lot of people got upset as well with the more recent Monkey Island because
I heard it's great. It's a Monkey Island game from start to finish. It's just a different art style.
The funny part to it is, you see, again, coming from an age when those were the new games, when those like you were excited when they brought a new Monkey Island game. This is a Monkey Island game that's aware that it's a Monkey Island game. Which is
that's what I hear about it. It's really funny.
What that sense of humor means, now my next one is like, okay, you finished Monkey Island, now do Discworld again. I love Terry Pratchett, and Discworld 2 was possibly one of the best like point and click kind of adventure FMV games, like Day of the Tentacle, all this kind of stuff. I love those games. They have a place. They kind of get forgotten a lot now, but that's pretty much what Scorn is. It's from a different perspective. It is a point and click game. Go here and do this thing to unlock this thing to get to the next,
I saw a good description. It's Giger Mist. Like it's just mist with Giger, and
I was and there's some more shooting. Amnesia, but even that's more accurate.
Well, Amnesia too. Like it's
that's more accurate.
Everything the thing with Scorn is that everything is a puzzle. Even the combat is a puzzle, and that's why there's like so few and far between combat. You don't get a proper gun until like I am 4 hours in, and I just got a proper gun, and there's only like, I guess 2 more guns or something that you can find, if that. Now, the thing is, I could have gone through this section I've gone through this entire time without a gun if I hadn't gone this direction or that direction, because there's no holding your hand and there's no proper way to go. It's just, if you want to go this way, go this way. And if you find a gun, you find a gun. If you don't, well, then you don't have a gun, whatever. You have to run away. Like it's a puzzle adventure game. They advertised it was a puzzle adventure game even way back when it was being kickstarted. So I don't know why people are upset. It's because they wanted it to be something else than what it actually was. It's like if Doom, I would understand if Doom advertised itself as a boomer shooter and like hardcore a Doom game basically, but then you turned on Doom and it was a slow-paced existential.
If you'd like the trailers they had for Doom Eternal and it turned out to be Scorn, I could understand people being angry.
Yeah, but you saw the trailers for Scorn and you got Scorn. It's exactly what it's advertised. So I don't get it.
I thought it was great, but my biggest advertising comes from I really can't complain about it at all because I got to play it on Game Pass. Which again, shout out to
see, I backed this thing 10 years ago. I backed this bad boy on Kickstarter. I've been waiting for this game forever. Yeah.
You and Sailor, I believe, both backed it, and then there's been a lot of iffies, up and downs on it over the years and all like that. But if this thing doesn't get a sequel, I'm going to be shocked.
Dude, no, I'm pretty sure it will. Like, because you make a niche game, it's for a niche audience. You can't expect, a lot of people to like it or to love it, and you expect it to be a mixed reception. It's like Legacy of Kain, perfect example. Legacy of Kain, Deadhaus Sonata, a niche game for a niche audience that will make money and make its return back and everything, but it's not for everybody. Like Darksiders is a niche kind of game, and it's even one of those things where it doesn't really have a gaming identity like Legacy of Kain because it's changed up genres every single game. But like, it's not for everyone, but it still has an audience. It still has a niche audience that enjoys the whole Darksiders aesthetic look and combat feeling, depending on what you're going for, like all that stuff. Like, like from soft niche games that have a niche audience that, can become commercially successful, Elden Ring, but at the end of the day are still specific audience.
Yeah. It's like you're not going to get people that aren't into sports buying like NHL.
Yeah, like I don't like sports games, but a friend of mine loves sports games, so more power to him, whatever. I just know that I liked sports games as a kid when I was playing them with my friends, but that was that, not, now.
Last time I played a sports game properly, it was on the Game Boy.
I think mine was like a PlayStation, like FIFA,
the original
FIFA,
Game Boy
3 or 4 or whatever for PlayStation, whatever that FIFA was, FIFA 98 maybe, I don't know.
But the fun side is saying it to Scorn. I was sitting with a friend playing it, and me and him were discussing it. He went to arts college, and we were laughing at the idea that like you could get a bunch of students to sit and like philosophize over the meaning of the artwork in this game of every level for like a month.
Yeah.
Like you could do a college course where each month it's a different level in scoring, and what that means. What's the meaning behind it? What's it like? How it's interpreted, and what story does this tell? Like that's so unbelievably beautifully crafted.
Yeah, there's already lore videos for Scorn, like the lore behind Scorn, the story for Scorn explained, the game that we never got because they released an art book, and it's like there's a bunch of cut content from the art book and like a bunch of cut little story bits and everything from the art book. But it's just that's the thing. It was just a conceptual art book. Everything is a concept,
Hmm.
and you have to. I think the best part about Scorn is that it doesn't hold your hand and everything is interpretive. Like the story, you might find something a little different with it with whatever the story is than someone else, and that's like the good part about like those kind of games. That's why I love those
I
kind
love
of
the way
games.
it tells you nothing.
Yeah,
Just like
exactly. Nothing,
here's the
nothing.
start of the game. Go.
Yep, yep. It's like if you're playing through like System Shock 2, for example, and there's all this environmental storytelling, but then there's audio logs with that. If there were no audio logs, you're not missing out on anything because there's the environment to tell you the story. Like Scorn, the entire environment tells a story. It's just up to what do you think this means,
That is also something I'd like to see added to Deadhouse. I'd love to see. I
Me
love
too.
environmental storytelling. Like, I don't think it should be the only form of storytelling because, again, it's going to be a very narrative-driven, story-driven game. But I do think you can tell a lot. It's something. Again, I know I bring this up at virtually every stream. If I don't, you do. The Witcher. There's a lot of parts of The Witcher
Ding.
where you go, so you can press that in the bingo card. You go into like a house or something, and you just kind of quickly look around. You can tell what's happened based on like,
Yeah.
okay, this guy came in here and he's dead. I'm looking for a frying pan. Why is he almost? This poor fella has had an awful case of the suicides. Worst case of
Yeah.
suicide I've ever seen in my life. Like he cut his own head off and everything.
Like no, I think I mean, not to derail into a Witcher thing, but I do think replaying some missions after you've like finished the game or at least gotten to a certain point, then you understand, oh, now I get what this was about with the story and with like the environment and everything. But that's what makes games good. Like to bring it to I guess Blood Omen or like Soul Reaver 1, like there's some environmental storytelling with there too. It's very light. This might be just me,
No,
reaching really
in Blood
far.
Omen, I don't know about so much with Soul Reaver because like that was pretty like basic, but that was more of a technical limitation at the time.
Mhm.
But with Blood Omen, like when you go back to Kane's home village, like the plague card, even before he mentions anything, like there's plague
You
cards
can
all over
tell
the
that
place.
there's
Like,
plague and
like
there's plague
oh
cards and like
shit,
rocks.
everyone's dead. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you start seeing zombie type things, and when again the enemies, the context, the area. I said it's why
Yeah.
I like Elden Ring more than Dark Souls.
I like Elden Ring. The environmental storytelling is still there, but there is more active storytelling as well.
Mm,
Yeah, and I think you need a mix of both in your game without, I guess, going too far, going overboard.
mm.
Like I understand Scorn doesn't hold your hand and people don't like that, but if Scorn had all the environment storytelling that it did, but then there were futuristic alien audio logs that explained everything, it would defeat the purpose of whatever they were trying to do in an artistic way. Like the thing with Blood Omen 1 is when you go to Corhagen and you see all the plague carts and you see the giant rock that's blocking the entrance anyway, so that nobody with the plague can get out. They just basically shut that away from the world so nobody else can get sick. Then Kane remarks on it because he's a vampire now and he can survive it. That's fine. We got the little bit of storytelling beforehand. We got Kane's remark on the plague, but that's all you get. You only get one little thing of him mentioning the plague and how like Corhagen got infected with the plague. Everything else is the environment telling you that this couple died in their bed while being sick, that this wife, had to kill her husband because he was sick, but then she slowly got the plague as well.
Yeah.
So it's like you can have that, just don't overdo it. You know what I mean? Like I think Deadhouse has a great potential of having a bunch of environmental storytelling and then having, you know, mythical rocks with text on them or something that you have to translate or whatever that
You
can tell
see,
you a
it depends on
story.
narrative
Depends on what they're
story.
doing.
Narrative storytelling versus environmental storytelling. Like, for example, you get a lot of narrative storytelling in games like Arkham Asylum, Batman,
Yeah.
because it's literally interactive with other people and stuff like that.
Mhm.
In Scorn, I don't want to spoil it, but you don't really meet anyone else.
Yeah.
Technically, I know you kind of do during the first puzzle, but not really.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Other than
you
that,
don't
it's
really meet anyone, and
Mhm.
nothing really happens. Kind of. I love the way it presents itself, where you like, you know, it doesn't tell you it's a puzzle game or that just puzzles.
Yeah.
It's just like walk here, you see a thing, there's a door, you do the thing, the door opens. It's like, ah, there we go. But
But
will
will
Deadhouse
Deadhouse
let
let us
us
pet
pet the
the
doggos? I will put my foot down, and that I will. That will be the cross I perish on. You will get to pet the doggos. I will annoy every staff member
I
if
have
you
a
can't
feeling it'll
pet
be a
the goodest
thing.
boy.
I have a
Yes,
feeling it'll be a thing because
you know
there is
dogs
going
and
to
cats are going
be
to be in the game, and if you
yeah, so why
cannot
wouldn't
pet
you
the
let us
doggo,
pet them?
yes.
Let us get a stray Deadhouse tie-in. So like undead like ghost cats or ghost dogs.
No, but isn't that what
Yeah.
happened? Isn't the story to Stray like humanity's all been wiped out already?
Yeah, something like that. It's like Half-Life 2 but with a
Deadhouse
cat.
spoilers. Like
But anyways, that
everywhere
that
was
derails us into another.
everything was wiped out. The only thing that survived, one cat.
Yep, one cat. And speaking of cats, cats have 9 lives, but this stream only has one, and it is time to end it. And
End it now.
end it now, and continue on with another episode another time. So as per usual, if you've enjoyed this, obviously check us out on Spotify, and don't forget to follow Deadhouse Sonata at deadhousesonata.com. Jump on the Discords, jump on the Reddit, jump on the Twitter, all that jazz. You can follow me on Twitter at the Necrolibriatus. You can follow me on YouTube. If you search anything Deadhouse Sonata related, you'll find me. You can follow Faceless Mike at the Faceless Mike on all the social medias, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, all that stuff.
If
can
you
follow
look up
Deadhouse
Faceless
Sonata.
Mike, I show up in most places.
Pretty much. You can follow Deadhouse Sonata on Twitter at Deadhouse Game, as well as Instagram. And yeah, and everywhere else pretty much. Jump in the Discord, guys. Jump on the forum. And don't forget to, you know, do all that followy stuff for Deadhouse and us as well. If you like us, Deadhouse Whispers, we are on Spotify as well as YouTube. You can catch the video for this a little bit later after I go edit it. And yeah, just keep on keeping on, guys.
And we will catch you a lot sooner than later the next time.
Yes, we will see you guys in the next one. I've been Calypso, Faceless Mike. See ya.
See ya.